Hey guys, what's going on? It's Chamber here, and today we will be maxing out for Apex Legends FPS. So I've been playing a bunch of Apex Legends lately. My friends have. I've been playing a bunch of like ranked, different game modes and stuff, and I've seen a lot of. And I do my research every time I play a game. I see what are other people doing to get the most FPS, and Apex Legends might be one of the worst games when it comes to information for FPS. The amount of people I have seen say you need to cap your FPS at 190, you should use you should do all these things. None of them have gotten it right yet. So today we will be going over everything you need to do to get the most FPS in Apex Legends. Let's go. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to pick our launcher. Now, I tested both Origin and Steam. Now, I got the best results from Steam, so we're going to load up Steam right now, and then I'll show you the settings you need to set. So now that we are on Steam, make sure you're not on Origin. If you are on Origin, I would recommend 100% just to go to Steam. It's going to be better. We're going to go to our library, go to where we have Apex Legends, right-click, Properties, and then we're going to set our launch options. Now, you can disable the desktop game theater. Now, you can disable the Steam overlay if you'd want. The one issue I know when doing this is that you actually might have issues if you need to relog into EA, and you'll have to turn those back on. But for launch options, .dev, this just stops the intro clip, so it's really nice. Then plus FPS max 0. Now, I've seen people be like, I need to use 190, 187, like all this stuff. Set to 0. This will unlock it. This will set the 300 FPS cap that is on the actual game. Now, if you're using G-Sync and stuff, maybe you're like, for example, I have a 270Hz monitor. If I was using G-Sync, I'd do 267. We are not going to set that here. We are going to set this at unlimited. I will show you soon what we will be doing. Now, let's talk about why we're not doing that. Now, I've been doing some testing. I'll show you guys the results. But setting an in-game cap is not the best for your minimum FPS. So if you have these things called 1% and 0.1% FPS, that is the stuff you feel. When I'm properly setting my FPS cap, they go up by around 100. Significantly feel the difference. Before we do that, let's just go into our actual graphics drivers that we should be using. Okay, for AMD, we're just going to start with that because this is what I have. You're going to click your GPU that you have, go to Windows 10 if you're on Windows 11, obviously you can do that, and just do this latest recommended. This literally just came out. I've not tested it yet, but from what I've heard, it's doing great. There's no actual information about Apex in this. There should not be any FPS change. And for Nvidia, so look up your drivers. Now click Beta and Over drivers at the bottom of the screen. Hit GeForce, select your GPU. Now let's just say I'm a cool kid. I have a 3090, so we're going to also make sure Windows driver type is set to DCH. Then recommended beta, let's just click recommended/certified. Now, you can click any of these. So, I would not recommend 500 series drivers yet. Now, if you're playing a game like Elden Ring, maybe it'll be a good idea. But for most people, I would recommend 497. Just use something that is not the 500 series drivers. I've had people have issues with them, especially on higher end displays. So, if maybe you're running like an HDR display, which you really shouldn't for Apex, okay. So, let's just set these up. And now let's go to our driver stuff. So I'm going to go over AMD right now just because I have an AMD system. Now system, any of this stuff matters. Just go straight to graphics. So Radeon image sharpening, if you're blind like me, turn this on. It really does help. Do not use enhanced sync or any of that. Now frame rate target control. This is where you want to set your FPS cap in if you have an AMD GPU. You're going to enable it and set 299. Now, you're not going to want to set 300 because that will actually it will override the driver cap and set the in-game cap, which ruins your lows. You want to set 299. So just after this, copy all these settings. The only ones you'll actually need to change are texture filtering to performance, and then tessellation override and turn it off. You can also reset your shader cache. I'm going to do that as well. And that's all you need to do. Now let's talk about the Nvidia settings. Now, I don't actually have an an Nvidia GPU that is hot like I use on my gaming PC. So we're just going to go straight to talking about this. So we're going to actually have to go into our Nvidia control panel. Let me type it in. And there it is. Now, we're going to hit desktop and then click enable developer settings. So we've already done that. I've already done that. Now, you're going to do allow access to all users and hit apply. I'm not going to do it because I'm actually recording on this now. Now, go to PhysX. Set your processor to your 1070. Now, adjust image settings with preview. Use my preference emphasizing performance. It's not going to make your game look trash. I don't know why people think it does. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to scroll down and you can copy my settings directly. So, oh, there it is. Okay. Now, the important ones, threaded optimization on. Now, set texture filtering quality to high performance. Power management mode, prefer maximum performance. This is a big deal. Low latency mode, set this to off. Now, gamma correction, make sure that's also off. And then, this is the one we're going to talk about, the max frame rate. So what I recommend is going to program settings, adding, and finding Apex Legends. So now, I don't actually have Apex or any game installed on this, in fact. So let's use 4K capture utility as an example. So don't touch any of the settings except max frame rate. Now turn on, and now I'm going to set about 295 is what I would recommend, just because the Nvidia driver likes to overshoot your FPS a little bit. Now, for example, if you set like try and use this for G-Sync, you'll probably want to set 5 below your FPS cap. So that's what I'm going to do this for. Then you hit OK, you'll hit apply. Back on the gaming PC now. So we're going to right click our desktop and hit display settings. Now go to advanced display settings. Make sure your refresh rate is set to the maximum it can support. Let's say you have like a 144 Hz monitor and it says 60 and that's the highest it gives you. You're probably using an HDMI cable and your monitor does not support 144 Hz over HDMI. You're going to need a DisplayPort cable. Also make sure that you are plugged into your GPU. Make sure you're not plugged into your your integrated graphics on your motherboard. You only plug into the actual GPU. Next, go to graphics settings for Nvidia users. You'll see something here called hardware accelerated graphics scheduling. You're going to want to turn that on. You're going to need to hit restart. You're going to actually have to restart your PC after it for the changes to be effective, but it will boost your FPS. Now, I don't have this option. It's removed from my Windows, but you're going to want to go to the gaming tab. Set game mode on. Make sure game mode is on, but then also the game bar setting, disable that. It's a useless piece of junk. That's why I don't have it. Now, I'm going to go over some of my testing now, and let's just show you why I'm saying what I'm saying. Here's a little program called CapFrameX. Now, here's about the 1,000 tests I've done. I've done most of these on Twitch, actually. So if you're interested, you can go back, follow me on Twitch at twitch.tv/ChamberTech. Check out my VODs. If you have an issue, I'm sorry. I can't please everyone. This is just the best way that I could get a accurate benchmarking for you guys. Now, here is actually the best result I got. And now I'm going to show you what I originally, this is what I started with actually, which was this. As you can see, about 85 more FPS than the lows. 80 to 90 more FPS than the lows. This is an insane difference, so you will feel this significantly. Now, I'm going to go over now all the settings, and here's what I've noticed to get your FPS max. So make sure that you are using the driver cap. If you are not using the driver, you're going to want to use RivaTuner Statistics Server. Now, you're going to do this by setting your frame rate to 299, hit enter. Now, setup. And then you want to scroll down and hit enable frame rate limiter. Just hit up, then hit OK. Now, if you're on something like G-Sync, let's say you have a 240 Hz monitor and you're using G-Sync, you want to use G-Sync, do 237. Just whatever your refresh rate is, if you're using G-Sync, subtract 3. But if not, I'd recommend just hitting straight 299, hit enter. Then you can just minimize the program. You're gonna have to have this open. Now, let's actually go to Apex and show you what settings I recommend for maximum FPS. We're in Apex now. We're gonna sign in, let this load. Now, here's what we're gonna do. We're just gonna hit settings. Now, there are a couple of settings I want to talk about in here actually. So turn on performance display if you're interested in seeing your FPS. Disable usage sharing. EA loves to, you know, see what's going on. So just disable that. Don't let them see anything. And then go straight to video. Full screen. Make sure in full screen. Don't be in borderless window. Don't be in windowed, especially full screen. Aspect ratio, just leave this here. Now your resolution, you want to be at native resolution. You can do stretch resolution, but like it's not that good in this game. Brightness is all personal preference. FOV, it's a battle royale. In my opinion, you should be maxed out, but do whatever you think is comfortable. And then these two settings are personal preference. This is when we get to the interesting parts. VSync, disable it. Nvidia Reflex, turn this on, enabled plus boost. I do not have an Nvidia GPU, so it does not have the option. You can use this thing called adaptive super sampling and resolution. Don't use it. It's better. If anything, just lower your actual resolution here. Like, let's say you're not getting the FPS you want at 1440p, lower to 1080p if you're fine with that. Literally everything else is all low. Now, this texture streaming setting. Now, if you set this to none, especially for me, I'll get this warning. I'll be fine. But you'll notice that the textures aren't that clear. So as you can see, there's a little like rough. It's kind of blurry. And if I set it even to something as low as very low, it gets a lot clearer. So if clarity is an importance for you and you really like to see the higher quality textures, set it to at least 2 GB. But if you want slightly more FPS, slightly smoother, set this to none. It doesn't make an insane difference, but if you want that little bit of FPS, then that is what I'd recommend. Everything else in this is personal preference. There's no config to put in. If you are interested in your config, hit Windows key and E, go to local disk. It is in users. Click your user, saved games, respawn, Apex, local settings.cfg. You can see all your binds. If you're interested in backing this up after just to make sure that you don't lose it or anything, you can do that. And then video config. There is nothing important in here. I have checked. If you guys did enjoy, hit that like button down below. Subscribe if you guys are new. Trying to get to 1,000 subs on here. Join the Discord if you have any questions. Comment down below what games you guys want me to max out the FPS on next. I enjoy doing these kind of videos. It allows me to try different games while also getting the most FPS and making content for you guys. If you guys are interested in getting more FPS and you're not happy with your FPS still after this video, I do offer a paid service where I will overclock your PC and tune it to the max. If you're interested, click the link down below, chambertech.net/FPS. And check out the other links, the Discord, my Twitter, my Instagram, my Twitch. I stream on there pretty regularly. And see ya.